Indictor, the sanctification process whereby warjacks are made clean and pure to join the Great Crusade, has become an essential aspect of their fabrication. Yet the Indicator stands apart from the rest, crafted as a bastion of spiritual power against which the foes of the Protectorate must tremble. It is the bane of spellcasters wherever the leaders of the Great Crusade confront them. The Indicator was built on the venerable Crusader chassis. A portion of those most loyal to machines was set aside to be transformed into something still greater by the Soulmenite artificers. Though it starts with an ancient frame, each Indictor becomes a marvel of modern engineering as old elements are painstakingly replaced and purified. Imbued with disruptive mechanica and covered in passages from the canon of the true law, the Indictor has a discordant presence that disperses blasphemous magics set against the faithful. In addition to its mystical defenses, each Indictor is equipped with a massive shield and a blessed blade. The Banisher's holy runes empower the weapon to penetrate arcane defenses, erected to shield the enemies of the true faith from the Creator's wrath. Some leaders, such as Viscos Ark Razak, consider the mighty Indictor proof that they have moved beyond merely cleansing these fighting machines. Such leaders see warjacks as integral and sacrosanct elements of the Protectorate's Holy Crusade, an inspiration to the faithful as well as a terror to their enemies. And yes, this guy is very much a warjack that turns off magic while within a certain perimeter of him. And any guy that is able to shut down magic of the enemies is always a very useful. And you know how the Protectorates feel about spellcasters outside of their holy order, and witch hunts are very much a thing that does happen in the Protectorate of Menoth. So, but let's go over his little stat line here. He is 12 feet 1 inch tall. His initial service date started in 607 AR. He is 8 tons, 8.4 tons to be precise. His fuel load is 835 pounds. His general use is 6 hours. His combat use is 60 minutes. And his armaments include his shield and his banisher. And his cortex was manufactured by the vassals of Menoth. So let's read over his Mark III to Mark IV changes and see how much more terrifying he has gotten, because this guy is a problematic warjack to go up against any of your enemies who especially like using magic to slow you down or remove any of the most holy zealots of the Protectorate army. And as always, let's start with this stat line. He is a speed 4 because he is a big boy. He has a mat of 7, he has a defense of 10, and his armor is 19 to 21, depending on if he still has his shield active or not. So basically brand new, his armor is 19 as always, and of course he has his slam, trample, and headbutt attacks because he's a large warjack as well. And then let's go over his abilities. So he has a couple abilities here. He has Consecration, so while within 6 inches of this model, enemy models cannot cast spells, channel spells, or upkeep spells. Ooh, so if you get him up near like an enemy warcaster who has a bunch of upkeep spells, they shut off. That is a staggering effect when that happens, I imagine. And he has Sacred Ward, so he cannot be targeted by enemy spells. So he is immune to being hit with spells, and he turns off spells if he's within 6 inches of them, making him even more a danger to the enemies of the one true faith. And his weapons, because you know he has weapons, because he's not just a guy who turns off spells. He has his Banisher, which is a mat 7 range 1 magical weapon with blessed, so it also turns off any kind of armor buffs, armor and defense buffs presented by spells. And then he has his shield, which is a mat 7 range 1 PAL 13. That gives him his +2 armor when that thing is still active. So as far as that goes, he is a very, very useful jack when it comes to going up against guys that like to pump out a lot of spells. He's good at shutting them down. And if there's any ways that you can get him up to the enemy spellcasters as quickly as possible, you probably want to toss those spells on him, since he can be affected by friendly spells, just not by enemy spells, which is way better than it used to be. Because I believe Sacred Ward back in like Mark 1 or 2 used to be can't be affected by any spells, but I think we have some adjustments now. So, but yeah, no, he is a very specialized jack, but he still does a good amount of damage with his Banisher anyway. So he is still a hard-hitting jack that just has a lot more specialties than some others. But